Some things might happen. Some things you don't want to see. When that happens, you put these down. Goggles!
You a guy?
I'm a baker.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2022 action thriller The Baker. The film is directed by Jonathan Sobol and it stars Ron Perlman, Harvey Keitel and Emma Ho. Now the film focuses on Ron Perlman's character, who is an elderly baker. He is visited by his estranged son, who brings along his granddaughter, who he's never met before. Now, the son has recently come into possession of a lot of drugs that he kind of found at the airport after was like a bit of a gang war sort of thing. He picked up these drugs and ran off with his daughter. And he wants to leave his granddaughter with his dad so he can go off and make a deal and sell these drugs and set himself up for life with his daughter. However, things never go well with gangsters. They find out about the son, torture him, and then it is up to Ron Perlman with his granddaughter in tow to find out what has happened to his son by taking his vengeance out on the gangsters responsible. Right, what are my thoughts on The Baker? Well, I have to say, I really quite enjoyed this film. The whole concept of it just sounded pretty cool to me. I mean, you know, elderly guys kind of, you know, pretty badass is something we all generally enjoy seeing. Things like Gran Torino and that one with Michael Caine where he's like an elderly guy that can kick ass. And what we've got here is Ron Perlman absolutely kicking ass in this film. And first and foremost, he's outstanding in this film. Now, Ron Perlman, obviously, we know for the genre films that he's done in the past, you know, the Hellboy films, Blade 2, Alien Resurrection. I mean, you know, you can go on and on and on. I mean, he's a bit of a legend, is Ron Perlman. But nobody generally turns around and says, what a great actor Ron Perlman is. But in actual fact, he's classically trained, is Ron Perlman. And it really shows in this film because at the very centre of this film, and this film wouldn't have worked anywhere near as well without it, is the relationship between him and his granddaughter, Delphi. It's the heart of the film. It's it's the glue that holds the film together. And if that relationship didn't work, the film wouldn't have worked, and it absolutely does. And much of that is down to Ron Perlman with a very touching, poignant, and sensitive performance when he's in the presence of his granddaughter, and also Emma Ho, the young actress playing Delphi, who's like a selective mute, and he kind of gives her these goggles, and he tells her to wear these goggles if anything happens that he doesn't want her to see. He tells her to put the goggles on so she can't see what's going on, the violence that is basically putting out there. And it's a lovely relationship. You know, you get these quiet moments in between the action scenes with him having initially quite short discussions with his granddaughter because he doesn't have a lot of patience, and then you just see this relationship develop and grow as the film goes on, and it's actually quite moving, some of the scenes with them, and for me, probably the best part of the film, if I'm honest. But saying that as well, when it gets to the point in the film where he has to start, you know, busting heads, my God, he can do it. And even though it doesn't, and I love the fact that it doesn't do this, the film does not specifically say why he's so skilled at violence. It hints at it. It's very clear he knows what violence is, and you get little snippets here and there. You get the police kind of discussing him, and his files been redacted. He understands weapons and how they're used, and so on and so forth. It's very, very obvious he has been trained and he is skilled in the art of violence, if you like. But in the hands of a lesser filmmaker, if you like, And we see this time and time again. It's one of those tropes in films. You know, you get that snippet of information where people read, "Oh yeah, he's a former special ops, military superhero who's got 150 kills to his name and blah 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 blah." You know, we don't need that. It just adds to the mystery of who this character is. All we know is that he is pissed off. He's got his granddaughter in tow, and he wants to know what's happened to his son. Even though he doesn't have a good relationship with his son, it's still his son. He wants to know what happened to his son, and he's prepared to crack a few skulls to get the information that he needs. And that is brilliant. I mean, he knows what he's doing. He knows how to investigate scenes. He's following suspects, all that kind of stuff. But he is not. They don't portray him as like indestructible. A lot of the action scenes that he's in, he comes out nearly as bad as the people he's dishing out the violence to. You know what I mean? Because they're quite skilled at what they do. There's a great fight scene in like a nightclub bathroom with a very, very dangerous individual, and that's back and forth, and it's very, very fun to watch. Harvey Keitel's in this film, obviously a legend. Now, he kind of plays like the head honcho in regards to the gangsters. He's the one that wants to find out what's happened to his drugs, and he's the one that's sending out this crew of gangsters to, find out where his drugs are. So while his scenes are sparse, he's always watchable when he does turn up in the movie. But for me, this was just a pleasant surprise. And these films come along, frequently, generally during the year. These films that you'd never hear of, they just kind of pop up, and you watch them and you'd come away thinking, yeah, that was good. I mean, I watched this around about the same time as I watched the new Expendables film. And I would watch this any day of the week compared to the Expendables film, the new one. This is a much better film in every way. It's got a real heart to the story. You care about the characters. Well, certainly Ron Perlman's and the granddaughter's, Delphi's characters. It's a sweet relationship, and it's quite a poignant film at times. But make no mistake, the violence and the action when you get it here is very, very enjoyable as well, and pretty gritty and grounded too. So I do actually recommend this one, guys, if you get the opportunity to watch The Baker. It's one of those films that I am fairly sure is going to fly under many people's radars. So hopefully there are more people that see this review and like the sound of it. Please go out and seek this one out and watch it, guys, because I think you will certainly enjoy it. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please click the like button. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, and I will of course be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.